Well, this sounds great. Are there any downsides, or where are you as far as implementing this in your company?
So we haven't implemented it everywhere yet. We're using it right now almost exclusively for generating forecasters, although we've started using it in some newer applications for similar variants. We're not generating whole applications with it yet. We're generating mostly components of applications. So there's a lot of opportunity there to expand its use, and we're looking into that. Also, I think I mentioned that this whole approach is based on a lot of prior work. In particular, it's based on the work on these layered assemblies, like the Genvoca approach and the AHEAD approach, all the work of David Parnas, Don Batory. That work is quite rich, and so we've been able to borrow heavily from it to get layer blocks to where it is right now. But that work also, that prior work also has gone on beyond what we've done. So there are some pretty nice things you can do in some of Batory's latest work, where you can actually think about generating product lines of product families, which, if you could imagine, would scale much larger to building whole applications. We don't have any support for that yet in layer blocks, but that's something we're looking into.
So let me get a little clarification here. You use the term product line and product families. Can you differentiate those two?
Probably the best is to give an example. So what we've looked at so far is how to use layer blocks to generate different forecasters, different variants of a forecaster. But a forecaster is one kind of product. Often what you find, and what we have to deliver to customers, is a family of related projects, such as a forecaster that works together with a replenishment system that works together with a promotion planning system. And what you really would like to do to scale this up is to be able to generate product lines of entire product families. And that work there is existing research in that area, but we have not incorporated that yet into layer blocks.
So there's this family of compilers called GCC that are capable of targeting various platforms, but also they can be used for different. The technology can be used for different programming languages. Mm-hmm. Okay, is that related to this product lines and product families?
Interesting question. Yeah, I guess you could say that. I wouldn't think of a compiler as a product family, but to the extent that it is not for a single language, but for multiple languages, like GCC can be used for Fortran and for Ada.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way of thinking about it, right?
And anything else you'd like to say about the current status of layer blocks, or things you'd like to do in the future?
We're interested in integrating layer blocks itself and this method of composition more tightly into the programming language that we use to build our applications. Right now, layer blocks is a separate generator, but historically, this kind of approach has almost always started with a separate generator, but then led into very tight integration into a programming language. And I think that's probably where this belongs. That will then let us do much more sophisticated analyses of type correctness of these assemblies. It'll help us make some better decisions. You mentioned the generality versus performance problem, which could at some point crop up. I have no doubt that eventually it might. By integrating this more tightly into the programming language, you get more opportunities for having more context when you're doing generation.
Is this anything like the generic capability in Java, where you can generate collection classes of various types by parameterizing them?
It's very similar, yeah. So in fact, that tends to be that kind of method, the use of templates and that are supported in the programming language is often ways that this general model gets tightly integrated into a language. So there was some work, Yanis Smardakis did some work on integrating this very approach into Java in exactly the way you're just suggesting. So yes.
And we will put on the class resources page some links to some of the papers that Kurt is referring to, in case you want to look into them a little bit more deeply.